Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Intimacy Lab. I want to speak to you today from a very tender place, a place where the heart feels raw and where silence can feel deafening. Have you ever sat there, staring at your phone, willing it to light up with a message that never comes? Have you ever felt that ache, that uncomfortable quiet that follows the end of communication, when you've decided to go no contact, but every part of you feels exposed, uncertain, and alone? You see, the silence after a breakup isn't empty, it's full of questions, full of memories, full of emotional noise that swirls around your mind. Why hasn't she reached out? Does she miss me? Am I strong enough to resist checking her social media? This, my dear friend, is the emotional landscape we enter when we choose no contact, and it can be a brutal test of resilience. But here's what you need to know. The time during no contact is not meant to weaken you. It's meant to rebuild you. It is a crucible, and yes, it burns, but it burns away the illusions we hold about love, about control, about self-worth. Staying strong during this period is not about punishing yourself or punishing her. It's about reclaiming your dignity, your boundaries, your emotional independence. So, stay close as we journey together through this, because the way you hold yourself now, the grace, the patience, the discipline, this will define not just how you heal, but who you become. I want you to take a breath with me right now, in and out slowly. I know this moment feels heavy. You're sitting there, perhaps at home, your mind cycling through memories, wondering how you got here. The decision to go no contact feels like a wall, but really it's a doorway. You see, no contact isn't just a tactic to win someone back or to test their feelings for you. It's a mirror, a profound opportunity to ask yourself, what is it I'm holding on to? And what would happen if I stopped grasping at something that is no longer reaching back? It's common, especially for men, to think that strength during this period means ignoring feelings. But ignoring isn't strength, that's suppression. Strength, real strength, is facing your feelings without allowing them to dictate your next move. It's about allowing yourself to feel longing without acting on it, to miss her deeply without calling, to remember beautiful moments without sending a late-night text. The first thing you must recognize is that your mind right now is not your best advisor. It will tell you she's the answer to your pain. It will whisper that reaching out would soothe you. It will tempt you with fantasies of reconciliation. But here's the truth. That temptation is about soothing your discomfort, not about resolving what truly needs attention. This is your moment to turn inward, not outward. When you sit in that silence, you create a sacred space, a space where your dignity, your self-respect, and your deeper emotional independence can start to rebuild. It's uncomfortable because you are learning to listen to your own voice again, after spending so long attuned to hers. And so, I want you to pause every time you feel the impulse to check your phone, scroll her photos, or reread your last conversation. When that urge arises, ask yourself gently, what am I really looking for right now? Most often, it's not her you're seeking, it's relief. Relief from loneliness, uncertainty, self-doubt. These feelings can be so difficult to tolerate, I know. But tolerating them, letting them move through you without immediate reaction, is how you begin to build your emotional muscles. Have you ever thought about the difference between loneliness and solitude? Loneliness is a hunger, a craving for something absent. Solitude is a choice, a relationship with yourself. No contact is your invitation to transform loneliness into solitude, to shift from waiting for a message to arriving back into yourself. And yes, this is a time to sit with the discomfort. But it's also a time to rediscover the small rituals that ground you. The things you may have neglected while preoccupied with love's chaos, your morning coffee prepared exactly the way you like it, your favorite book that's been waiting for your attention, the music that makes you feel alive in your own skin, These are not distractions, they are anchors. They remind you that your life continues and that you are a whole, worthy person even in this silence. The next challenge you'll face is the stories you tell yourself about this period. You may think, she's probably forgotten me by now, or I'm just punishing myself. But these narratives are not facts. They're interpretations driven by fear, and fear, when left unchecked, will convince you to break your resolve far too soon. So when fear speaks, I want you to answer it not with defiance, but with curiosity. What am I afraid of losing if I stay silent? This question is powerful because it turns your attention away from her, what she might be doing or thinking, and back onto you, your needs, your insecurities, your growth. Now that we've begun to reflect on the meaning of this silence and the emotional discipline it requires, we can begin to explore something deeper. So let's stay here for a moment with this idea of turning your gaze inward, because what often happens during no contact is that we believe we are waiting for something, waiting for a text, a sign, an apology, a reconciliation. And when that doesn't come, we feel as though we are left suspended in time, powerless. But what if this time isn't about waiting at all? What if it's about reclaiming your agency, about choosing yourself not as a reaction to her absence, but as an affirmation of your worth? This is where we meet the second key challenge of staying strong during no contact, rewriting the narrative you've wrapped around your identity. You see, when we are entangled in a relationship, it's so easy to forget who we are outside of that connection. We begin to define ourselves by the role we played for the other, the partner, the provider, the protector, maybe even the savior. And when that role is suddenly taken away, we're left not only grieving the relationship, but also unsure of our own identity. This period of no contact is your invitation to remember that you are not just someone's ex, someone's mistake, or even someone's lost love. You are a man with history, desires, dreams, and passions that predate this relationship and will outlive it. When you begin to reconnect with these parts of yourself, not because they'll impress her or anyone else, but because they belong to you, you start to see that you are whole without needing validation from the other side. This is why staying strong during no contact is so much more than just an act of willpower. It is an emotional discipline, a return to self-possession, a quiet but powerful declaration that your worth is not up for negotiation. And yet, inevitably, you will have moments where you feel overwhelmed. Nights when the silence feels too loud, when your mind replays every argument, every tender moment, every promise made and broken. These moments will test your resolve. When they come, and they will, I want you to practice a simple but transformative act, self-compassion. You are not weak for feeling this pain. You are human. You are not failing, just because you miss her. Missing someone you cared for is not a failure. It is a testament to your capacity for love. But here's where you must tread carefully. Feeling pain does not require you to act on it. There's a difference between honoring your feelings and obeying them. You can feel the ache and still remain in your center. You can want to reach out and still choose silence. That choice, over and over again, is what builds emotional fortitude. Another practice I invite you to consider during this period is reconnecting with your physical self. The body is where we store so much of our grief, our longing, our frustration. And often when we are emotionally raw, we neglect the very vessel that holds us. Move your body even when you don't feel like it. Go for a walk, stretch in the morning, feel the ground beneath your feet. These simple acts anchor you in the present moment, reminding you that you are here alive, breathing, and that your life is continuing even in the absence of contact. It's easy, I know, to fantasize that ending the silence will bring immediate relief. But I invite you to recognize that the ache you feel right now is not simply about her absence, it's about the emotional reckoning that every ending demands. No message, no phone call, no impulsive text will solve that ache, because the ache is asking for something deeper, your attention. your respect, your presence. So as we continue forward, I want you to hold this truth close. You are not waiting for her to come back. You are returning to yourself. Every day that you honor this silence with grace, you become stronger, clearer, more grounded. Now, let's continue this journey together, and as we continue together in this silence, I want you to notice something subtle but powerful that begins to shift inside you. Your relationship with time itself. When you were in contact, every moment felt reactive, waiting for a reply, anticipating her next message, trying to decode every word or lack thereof. Your time was tied to her rhythm, but now this space is yours again, yet time in no contact can feel like it's moving painfully slow. Days stretch, nights linger, you wonder if this feeling will ever ease, and it will, but only if you allow yourself to inhabit this time fully rather than resist it. Because resisting the moment, wishing it away, rushing toward a future resolution, will only make you feel more stuck. You are being called now to slow down, to attune yourself to your own life's rhythm. Perhaps you begin to recognize that you have neglected friendships, passions, ambitions that once gave you energy. Perhaps you notice that your mind has been cluttered by obsessive thoughts about what she's doing, what she's thinking, who she might be with, and in that noticing, you realize how much power you had surrendered without even realizing it. This is your opportunity to take that power back, not in a way that is bitter or resentful, but in a way that is loving toward yourself. Can you begin to fill your days, even gently, with moments that nourish you? Maybe that means preparing yourself a beautiful meal, not out of loneliness, but out of respect. Maybe that means calling a friend whose voice reminds you who you are. Maybe it's simply sitting quietly in your space and remembering that you belong to yourself before you belong to anyone else. I want you to hear this clearly. No contact is not about freezing time or holding your breath. It is about living again slowly, deliberately, fully. And it is also about redefining connection. You see, connection does not just exist in the form of romantic intimacy. Your life is surrounded by people, places, and practices that offer connection if you are willing to open to them. The tree outside your window, its leaves shifting in the breeze, can remind you of the beauty of change. The song that makes you feel something deep in your chest, that's connection. The friend who checks in, that's connection too. And perhaps most importantly, you are reconnecting with yourself, the person who has been waiting quietly beneath all the noise, the drama, the need for validation. This self, your truest self, is who you are meeting in this silence. There will still be temptations, moments when you think, if I just send one message, what harm could it do? But I want you to pause there, because it's not really about one message, it's about what that message represents. It's about breaking your own promise to yourself. It's about surrendering your process of healing for the hope of immediate relief. And relief is not the same as repair. You are in repair now. You are mending your sense of self, your boundaries, your emotional integrity. And this is the kind of repair that cannot be rushed. So every day that you remain in no contact with grace and presence, you are quietly rebuilding your foundation. You are telling yourself that you are enough to sit in discomfort, enough to hold your own hand through the ache, enough to trust that clarity will come, even if today feels cloudy. And this is where the deepest strength lies, not in the absence of longing, but in your ability to contain it, to witness it, and to choose not to act on it impulsively. So as you continue walking this path, hold this truth close. Staying strong in no contact is not about waiting for someone else to return. It's about your own return to your dignity, to your center, to the man you wish to be. And as you sit with this return to yourself, something unexpected may begin to surface: gratitude. Not gratitude for the pain or the loss itself, but gratitude for what this process is revealing to you about who you are and who you can become. Because here's the truth: when you stop reaching outward in desperation, you begin to touch a deeper form of love, one that has nothing to do with winning someone back and everything to do with coming home to yourself. This is the heart of staying strong during no contact. It's less about distance from her and more about closeness with you. And in this closeness, you discover things that perhaps you had forgotten, the sound of your own intuition, the value of your own time, the richness of your own company. It is in these quiet days, where you resist the urge to send a message or check on her life, that you begin to embody a different kind of masculinity. A masculinity rooted not in control or pursuit or validation, but in presence, stillness, and emotional mastery. You become a man who can hold his own heart in his hands without needing someone else to soothe it for him. And that, my dear friend, is strength. You may wonder if she's thinking about you during this time. You may wonder if your absence is making her miss you. But those questions are, once again, invitations to turn your focus outward, to tie your worth to her feelings, her reactions. Instead, let those questions pass like clouds in the sky. You do not have to chase them. Each day you remain in no contact with intention and grace. You send a message not to her, but to yourself, that you are capable of standing in this discomfort, of walking through it without needing shortcuts or easy answers, and that's what makes this journey so profound. It's not about punishment or control, it's about liberation. Liberation from old patterns, liberation from cycles of dependency, liberation from defining your peace based on someone else's proximity. And slowly, gently, this freedom begins to change you. You'll notice that the pull to reach out weakens, not because you no longer care, but because you have learned to care for yourself more deeply than ever before. You'll feel less driven by impulse and more guided by wisdom. You'll start to trust that you can hold difficult emotions without falling apart. And as you do, something else emerges, clarity. Clarity about what you want in your relationships moving forward. Clarity about the kind of love that is truly nourishing. Clarity about what you will and will not tolerate. This clarity is not cold or bitter. It is clear-eyed, grounded, and loving. It is the clarity of a man who knows his value, who has rebuilt himself from the inside out, and who now stands on solid ground. And this is what makes no contact a profound rite of passage, not a waiting game, but a passage back to your own sovereignty. So as you breathe through this process, I invite you to keep tending to the small, beautiful details of your life, the rituals that nourish your body, the practices that calm your mind, the connections that remind you of your humanity. They are not mere distractions, they are your path home. And if ever you find yourself doubting, if ever you feel tempted to break this silence just to feel something again, pause. Take a breath and remember that you are not defined by this silence or her absence. You are defined by your ability to stay present, to stay tender toward yourself, to hold yourself upright even as the waves of emotion rise and fall. Because in the end, staying strong during no contact is not about hardening your heart or erasing your feelings. It's about cultivating the kind of strength that allows you to love deeply without losing yourself in the process. And that strength is yours right now.